Surviving the Survivor. We bring you the best guests in all of true crime. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. Here's your host, Emmy Award-winning broadcaster, Joel Waldman.
What's up, STS Nation, and welcome to Surviving the Survivor. It is the show that brings you the very best guests in all of true crime on trending criminal cases. And there's no bigger trial in America, I don't care what the Karen readers say, than Sean Diddy Combs versus the United States government. Worldwide media has descended on Lower Manhattan at the federal courthouse, and today resumes, it's hard to believe, week 3. I was there for week 1. It is now week 3, day 10 of testimony in this dramatic trial, which is sort of concealed because it is a federal case, and of course no courtrooms, but we've got journalists, reporters, and friends of mine who are there and giving us some of the information. Today, Sean Diddy Combs' former assistant, she actually came back to work for Sean Combs in about 3 different capacities. Her name is Capricorn Clark, and she took to the stand this morning, and she was still on the stand, I believe, as they got to lunch, which they're on a lunch break right now. She once referred to Sean Combs, calling him the devil, El Diablo on Espanol, but calling him the devil. And we've heard that from other people who once worked for Sean Combs, and including one of his former security guards who actually referred to him as a demon. But Capricorn Clark testified today about a decade of darkness, including threats, violence, and the twisted world of so-called freakoffs, that word that hopefully after this we don't hear again. They all allegedly, according to the government here, fueled Sean Combs' criminal enterprise, and that is why he is being charged with a RICO racketeering charge. In this case, the music mogul is accused of using his power and empire to control and abuse Cassie Ventura and others as part of this sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy. If convicted on all of these charges, Sean Diddy Combs faces life in prison. Cameras, once again, are not allowed, but we were there, at least in spirit, and bringing the story that the world cannot see to you. Let's get to the details. So Judge Arun Subramanian, he took to the bench early this morning as week 3 of the trial begins. Prosecutors get up and confirm to the judge, that Capricorn Clark is going to testify today, and she in fact did that. They also gave us a sneak peek to what comes afterward, and that will be both LA Fire Department and LA's finest, the police department. So the fire and police departments, they will testify later today, presumably after lunch, about the incident with Kid Cudi, the other big hip-hop star who took the stand in this case, about his car basically being firebombed, presumably by Sean Diddy Combs, although there was never any actual evidence to link that the two of them, Sean Combs and that car firebombing, together. It was a Porsche, by the way. Capricorn Clark, she is the 17th witness called by the prosecution, and this is in 10 days, essentially. So the government moving at a pretty fast clip, and most people do not believe that this is going to last the full 8 weeks, but we will see. She previously served as Sean Combs' assistant, then as a marketing executive for Sean John, the clothing line you'll all remember. And then finally, she came back again in 2016 and worked as Cassie Ventura's creative director. Capricorn Clark began her music career at Def Jam and Death Row, and that's important, Death Row, Suge Knight's record label, before joining Combs in 2004. She talks about her early employment beginning in 2004 through 2006, and she says on the very first day that she worked for Sean Diddy Combs, that he threatened her in Central Park over these prior ties to Death Row and Suge Knight. We've heard Suge Knight's name come up in this quite a bit. Of course, most notably, Suge Knight's the one who has a nickname for Sean Combs, and that is Tootsie Roll. I'll let you figure out why. And according to her, according to Capricorn Clark, Sean Combs said to her regarding Suge Knight, if anything happened, I would have to kill you. That is a direct quote. If anything happened, I would have to kill you. So she went on to say that she was working absolutely grueling hours, 9 a.m. to 4 a.m. every day, 9 a.m. to 4 a.m. Every day, no meal breaks. And as a result, she developed alopecia. For those who do not know, alopecia is hair loss. She says from the stress of this, and this is by the way, the second medical diagnosis that we know of directly caused or related to Sean Combs. The other, of course, erectile dysfunction, not one, but two different escorts talking about erectile dysfunction. And now you're hearing about alopecia. What do you think Capricorn Clark made a year working for Sean Combs? I'll give you 3 seconds to guess. 1, 2, 3. She made $65,000 a year. I know you probably thought she was making $300,000-$400,000, something in that range, but no, $65,000 a year. She also went on to say that she's owed $80,000 in overtime for 3 months of work, but that Sean Diddy Combs, being the kind person that he is, ripped up the HR report, so there is no report to show that he still owes her $80,000. So here's this guy who's partying with his own label, Ciroc Video, these extravagant parties, dumping money on everything and paying his poor employees what amounts to way less than minimum wage. I mean, way less than minimum wage when you consider that she said she was working from 9 a.m. To 4 a.m. Capricorn Clark said that she would use aliases for Sean Combs when booking hotels, and we've heard the two before. Frank Black and Frank White were the two aliases that she used as well. And Capricorn Clark says that she would have to, after the fact, clean rooms, also pick up drug paraphernalia, baby oil, lube, and oil handprints on the wall, not art prints, not prints, but actual handprints of oil on the wall would be her job to try to scrub that off and clean it up. And we heard last week testimony from one of the Beverly Hills Hermitage Hotels general managers about how they knew that when Sean Combs came to town, they would have to, set aside certain hours to clean up, and they would have to keep certain amounts of money, I guess, on a retainer there at the hotel, anticipating the damages from said freak-offs. So she also talks about 2006, which is now the third year of her employment with Sean Combs. At that point, Sean Combs accuses her of stealing diamond jewelry. Now, he's accused others of doing the same thing. One of the previous assistants was accused of the same. And like the previous assistant, she was forced to take not one, not two, not three, but 5 different lie detector tests over 5 days. She had to take 5 different lie detector tests over 5 days. The test administrator allegedly said, and I quote, "You're going to be in the East River if I can't get a reading." This is interesting to me because we're talking about this conspiracy and criminal conspiracy. And now you've got the person giving the polygraph saying to Capricorn Clark that you're going to be in the East River, and he does not mean boating or swimming. You can't swim in the East River. Maybe you can, but you're taking your life in your hands. But he says you're going to be in the East River if I can't get a reading. Is this part of this whole criminal conspiracy? Is the polygrapher in on this? Now, 2006 also, there is an incident in Miami at Sean Diddy Combs' home on Star Island. Sean Combs says to her, "You can't have a life." This presumably came after she and he were having a heated discussion, and she was complaining a little bit about the hours she was working, which anyone would, from 9 a.m. to 4 a.m. And he literally says to her, "You cannot have a life." That's not all. She says at that point, he shoves her and she goes flying 30 yards. Now, if you've ever watched a football game, that's from the end zone 30 yards out. That is a very, very long distance. He would have to have been in an enraged state, but that's what she says. 30 yards. Maybe he was shoving her for the full 30 yards. It is unclear, but he did push her, and she does recount it in testimony today. At that point, the security guard at the Miami home says to Capricorn Clark, get all your stuff, pack up, and get out of here. Time for you to leave. Now, that was 2006. She leaves. Back in 2007, the following year, she does return to Sean Combs' orbit. She takes, this is Capricorn Clark again, the one-time assistant, now takes the director of marketing role for Sean John Women's Clothing. And she does that to avoid close proximity to Sean Combs. So she doesn't want to be in the everyday sort of assistant to Sean Combs' role, but rather she wants to work for Sean Combs. And she recounts counting 100,000 euros in club cash for him. That is 100,000 euros. He did an appearance at a club, and he was given 100,000 euros. And she says that she saw frequent drug use, including and not limited to ecstasy, Molly, and prescription pills, all things that we've heard that he and Cassie and the escorts and others had taken previously. And once again, the drug dealer is a guy named One Stop, and I have a feeling we're going to hear at some point from One Stop, although I'm not 100% sure. Once cocaine was actually delivered or procured in France, Sean Combs allegedly claimed that it wasn't for him, that he was giving it to his girlfriends and to friends, but that he himself was not taking the cocaine. I doubt that, but that's the story he was telling, at least to Capricorn Clark and others. In 2011 now, this is now 3 years later, while managing Cassie Ventura, this is her next role for Capricorn Clark. So in 2011, while managing Cassie Ventura, Capricorn Clark did in fact corroborate Cassie Ventura's story that Sean Combs had final say over her looks and opportunities. And this goes to the sex trafficking charges with force, fraud, and coercion. He was basically forcing her, coercing her into doing things the way he wanted them done, including how she looked. December 2011, we get to the now infamous Kid Cudi incident and the firebombing of his Porsche. Capricorn Clark was worried that Sean Combs would find out about the dating of Cassie Ventura and Kid Cudi. She knew about it prior to Sean Combs, and she took Cassie Ventura to Best Buy. She is the one, we find out, who took Cassie Ventura to Best Buy to get the burner phone that we had heard about that Cassie Ventura was using when talking and speaking with with Kid Cudi, so that Sean Diddy Combs would not know that she had a second phone and that she was having a second relationship. One day, Sean Combs arrives furious and armed, according to Capricorn Clark, and tells Capricorn Clark, and I quote now, "We're going to kill him." And he is obviously speaking about Kid Cudi, quote unquote, "We're going to kill him." At Kid Cudi's house, Sean Combs and his security guard, we've heard this story, but she reiterates, enter with a gun. Capricorn Clark says that she stayed in the car and warned Cassie Ventura about all this and tried to give her the heads up, but said it was an absolute mess, and later changed Cassie Ventura's contact in her own phone to Stormy. That was the name that she switched it to. Interesting choice of names, but that's what Capricorn Clark decided would be the best fit for her phone for Cassie Ventura's contact information. Moving along with the story, Sean Combs tells Capricorn Clark, according to Capricorn Clark, and he also tells Cassie Ventura to try to convince Kid Cudi not to go to police. And if you don't, he threatens, and this is a direct quote again, if you don't, I'll kill all of you. So now he has threatened Capricorn Clark. Now he's threatening Cassie Ventura. And, it's a real like bully tactic. So he goes in, breaks into the house, does all this stuff. And now he's a little coward and he's worried about it. So he is telling all of them, essentially, if you talk about the fact that I broke in, I'm going to kill all of you. After Cassie Ventura returns with Capricorn Clark to Sean Combs' home, she recounts, Capricorn Clark does, that Sean Combs kicked Cassie Ventura repeatedly and threatened Capricorn Clark if she interfered in any way. Capricorn Clark called Cassie Ventura's mother, Regina, who we saw take the stand last week, and said, please help her. Please help her, was the plea from Capricorn Clark to Cassie Ventura's mother, Regina. And Regina Ventura did call police, did take photos, and even said that she tried to swipe at Sean Combs, but did not connect. Capricorn Clark then tells Human Resources and a guy named Harve Pierre about the incident. He responds by saying, that's crazy, but it's going to be okay. That's crazy, but it's going to be okay. Sean Combs made it absolutely forbidden for Capricorn Clark and Cassie Ventura to stay friends after the incident. So now he is breaking up friendships as well. And this is coming directly from Sean Diddy Combs. He's saying you can no longer be friends with Cassie Ventura, and she breaks off the friendship, at least seemingly does. Again, we just hear a little bit more about the beating of Cassie Ventura after the Kid Cudi break-in. Capricorn Clark testified that he kicks her in the thigh and leg with 100% full force. That is the quote. He kicks her in the thigh and leg with 100% force, full force. Capricorn Clark goes on to say, and I quote, she didn't do anything. She was just crying silently. She did not do anything. She was just crying silently. 2012 comes back to another firing of Capricorn Clark. She was fired now while on vacation. She had told HR that Sean Combs was mad. She didn't tell him that Cassie Ventura had cheated. So, just to recap here, Capricorn Clark essentially says that because she did not give Sean Combs a heads up that Cassie Ventura was cheating, she was retaliated against, and therefore she was fired. This is a story she now tells on the stand about the story she told Human Resources. Sean Diddy Combs threatens her after all this and says, and this is very disturbing, I'll make you kill yourself. I will make you kill yourself. At that point, she receives a settlement. The amount of money is undisclosed. It was not revealed in court today, and it was for wrongful termination. So she received a wrongful termination settlement. Now, you would think that would be the end of it. Capricorn Clark comes back now as Cassie Ventura's creative director, which is interesting because you just heard that Sean Diddy Combs did not want them to be friends, but here she is coming back as her creative director. And now I'm wondering, what is the jury thinking? Because this is now the third time that Capricorn Clark is coming back under his employ, and I'm just curious, what are these jurors thinking? Is she a glutton for punishment? Is she really being, I guess, abused as badly as she says at work? Do they understand that she is? Do they have questions? I have no idea what is going on in the minds of these 12 jurors. She reveals in testimony today that she returned to Sean Combs because she couldn't find work and, quote unquote, wanted to get her life back. She wanted to get her life back. She said that Cassie Ventura's drug use increased at this point and that Sean Combs had final say over her project. So she also then testifies, obviously, to Cassie Ventura's deteriorating drug use. And of course, we heard Cassie talk about how she ended up in a rehab and is still on medication for opiate medications, some form of Suboxone to help with the addiction and the jitters and all these things. And she's still taking that 2 years after rehab. This was not the only hip hop star who Capricorn Clark was threatened over. We also hear from her about 50 Cent. And 50 Cent, another one who's been trolling Sean Diddy Combs this whole trial. If you follow 50 on Instagram, he too has been kind of poking fun with the Tootsie Roll stuff and this ongoing feud between the two of them. And he's taking liberty with his trial, 50 Cent is, to really rub it in to Sean Diddy Combs. And there are some people that don't like it. A lot of people who seem to be getting some joy out of watching 50 Cent do this trolling, even as Sean Diddy Combs is on trial for his life right now in this federal courthouse. Capricorn Clark testified, and this is just before lunch now, that after an MTV press event, Sean Diddy Combs made a veiled gun threat about 50. In an elevator with his manager, Chris Lighty, she recalls Sean Combs saying, "I don't like all the back and forth. I like guns. I don't like all the back and forth," replying to the beef between he and 50. "I like guns." This was obviously, again, in reference to Sean Diddy Combs' longstanding dislike and arguments with 50 Cent. After Cassie's earlier testimony 2 weeks ago, I can't believe it's 2 weeks now, 50 Cent did post on Instagram, and I quote here, "Damn, he did all that shit to go out like this. This shit is crazier than regular crazy." So again, 50 Cent has been trolling Sean Diddy Combs and does not appear to be too scared, I might add, of Sean Diddy Combs. 50 himself has been shot multiple times, so I don't think he's too scared a guy. Post 2018, she recalls not speaking to Cassie Ventura after 2018. That's when the friendship officially really came to an end in terms of any kind of communication. Capricorn Clark retained lawyers in 2023 after the Cassie Ventura lawsuit came out, which she says traumatized Capricorn Clark. In April 2024, so that's a year ago, she actually met with Sean Combs' attorneys, including Mark Agnifilo and Tenny Garagos, and brought lawyer Brian Friedman. She tells them, "Sean Combs would not be in this mess if he had kept me around." So now she is basically saying she is, kind of cleaning up the messes. So her testimony, I don't want to say wavers, but it kind of swings, the pendulum swings from keeping situations clean and neat to then basically outright disliking Sean Combs for putting her and others into these positions. And she went on to testify that, or at least tell these attorneys, I should say, at this meeting back in 2024, these are now Sean Combs' attorneys. Capricorn Clark tells them that that Cassie Ventura was not good for Sean Combs. Cassie Ventura was not good for Sean Combs. Says she was not told hiring was impossible. I guess that hiring, now I kind of got turned around on my notes here. I think due to the ongoing investigation that she couldn't be hired potentially yet again. So Capricorn Clark was potentially looking for employment once again. Just before lunch, the jury took a short break, and then cross-exam began of Capricorn Clark with Mark Agnifilo. He confirms the 2024 meeting. Capricorn Clark says the relationship upon questioning from Mark Agnifilo that her relationship with Sean Combs was, and I quote here, 1,000% platonic. She admits texting Sean Combs, and now this is 2021, so this is basically after everything we have just heard. She admits texting Sean Combs, "Did you ever know I had the biggest crush on you before I worked for you?" Question mark. Again, what are the jurors thinking here? You saw Mark Agnifilo when he had Kid Cudi on the stand crossing him, that he was essentially saying you got played by Cassie. And here, you got to wonder, is the jury thinking that to some extent that Capricorn Clark was playing Diddy? Because now she seems to be on good terms again. And I'm not saying that this isn't a result of abuse, because I think that she was certainly abused. I'm just simply saying what's going on in the minds of the jurors, because now she is basically caught revealing a text she sent to him after all this. And again, the wording of the text, and I quote, "Did you ever know I had the biggest crush on you before I worked for you?" At which point Capricorn Clark says she does not recall details of that conversation nor his reply. Now, Capricorn Clark is one of 3 assistants of the 17 witnesses who has already testified, including George Kaplan, who was a young guy when he when he was working for him, and he testified that he did not want to be testifying were it not for a government subpoena. Also, George Kaplan said he still texts Sean Diddy Combs on his birthday to wish him a happy birthday. And then there was a older gentleman, David James, not too old, but a middle-aged guy named David James, compared to George Kaplan, a bit older. And he also testified about some of the brutality that he witnessed. George Kaplan said ultimately he left because of the physical violence he witnessed. David James, part of his testimony included stocking rooms with drugs and baby oil and things of this nature, as well as witness intimidation was one of the roles that he said he played. So these are 3 assistants now who have testified in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. Again, the next set of witnesses expected: Los Angeles Fire, the investigator from LAFD who led the probe into the Kid Cudi car arson. Again, it was never officially, or I guess through DNA evidence, it was never linked directly to Sean Diddy Combs. But the implication, the heavy implication from Kid Cudi is that he did it. And we're going to hear now in the afternoon from the LA Fire Department chief investigator on this case. Partial female DNA was found on the bottle. We're expected to hear it was a Molotov cocktail that was used to blow up Kid Cudi's car. So that bottle that the Molotov cocktail was housed in is very important. And the defense is allowed to reference this despite the prosecution's objection. This whole notion of partial female DNA found on the bottle, partial female DNA found on the bottle. Now, what kind of bottle specifically, I don't know if we'll find out. But of course, the government didn't want that in because that implies it was not Sean Diddy Combs. But maybe Sean Diddy Combs, as we've seen, had his dirty work done for him. Some other interesting things of note in this trial: Victim 3, simply known as Victim 3, otherwise also known as Gina. Now, it is, at least in the court of public opinion, there is a rumor, a strong rumor, that she is not going to be testifying in this trial. What does that do for the government's case in chief? We're going to find out. We'll ask our experts about that. But one of basically 3 witnesses is now down. Does that help Sean Diddy Combs? Who knows? Of course, she had gone MIA along with her attorney pre-trial. And now we're hearing at least rumblings that it's a done deal, that she is not going to testify again. And that is victim number 3, otherwise known as Gina. Of note, because last week they were not there some of the time. The kids apparently were not in court today, but Sean Combs' mother and sister were in court today. And of note, his mother, Sean Combs' mother, actually gave a kiss to defense attorney Nicole Westmoreland during a break that was caught by one of the reporters. So clearly, the Combs family grateful to Sean Diddy Combs's defense team for helping to try to litigate this case. Another thing to just look out for that's come up time and time again, but there have been a couple of pieces in various newspapers over the weekend about the prosecution and have they established this criminal enterprise here for these RICO charges. Some legal analysts are saying not that they have not done this. Others saying perhaps they have, but this is sort of a lingering argument about the RICO and racketeering charges. Has enough been done to prove the RICO charges? We're going to have to wait and see. Some legal analysts say that they've got to tighten this conspiracy proof and therefore identify more criminal co-conspirators. They've got to identify more criminal co-conspirators. It is day 17. This is, again, in theory, expected to last 8 weeks. Some people say it'll go the full distance. That brings us to basically the 4th of July weekend, which is another month and change. Others say, no way, Jose, it's not going that long. But so far, it is week 3, day 10 of testimony, 17 witnesses, and that's a wrap. They're at lunch right now in the Sean Diddy Combs versus the United States government in that trial. Right now, it is lunchtime. They'll be coming back from lunch momentarily, and we are working on a show for later, and we will keep you all posted. Appreciate you being here. Love you, America, and we will see you on the flip side. Hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend. See you later on, everybody.